Just because you've reached your 30s and haven't ticked off the big milestones that the media tell you are important doesn't mean that you've failed, and it doesn't mean that you should have done your 20s differently. If you feel like you're behind in your 30s because of the life that your siblings are living, this is the video for you. Hi, I'm Rebecca Hawkes, a confidence coach here to help you live your confident 30s. So let me give you a little bit of a backstory for where this video has come from. My younger brother, 2 years younger than me, at 24 he bought a house, at 28 he got married, and by 31 he'd had 3 children. I've just turned 34, I'm single, I don't own a home, I choose to live at home with my mum, and I don't have any children. Now, I genuinely could not be happier for my brother and the life that he's created for myself. And at the same time, I'm also proud of the life that I've created for myself over the past few years. But it hasn't always been this way. For a very long time, I compared my life to his, and I felt like I was really behind. And as the eldest, I should have achieved all the things he has first. So in this video, we are going to unpack how I got to the place where I am incredibly confident with who I am, where I am in my life, and the life that I am living. And I'm going to share with you what you can do to stop comparing yourself to your siblings, ditch the shame, and start feeling confident on your own journey with the life that you are living, so that you no longer feel behind in your 30s. So let's start with a little bit of context. If you're thinking, how the fuck are you not worried about it being too late for you? Here's the thing. My brother and I had completely different priorities in our 20s. We even have different priorities now we're in our 30s too. In my 20s, my life was about travel, adventure. I lived abroad, I worked abroad, I started my online businesses, I backpacked solo. Everything was about freedom, exploring, adventuring, doing anything but settling down, getting married, buying a house. Whereas on the other hand, my brother was the complete opposite. He wanted a wife, he wanted a family, he wanted his own home. So he worked, saved up, bought his house, got married, had children. His focus was very much on career stability and building a family, whereas mine was the complete and utter opposite. And there is no right or wrong. He didn't do life the right way, and I didn't fail at life because I didn't do the same things as him, right? So if you are also feeling like you're behind, one of the things that I would encourage you to do is also look at the life that your sibling's living and the differences between you and your sibling and what each of you actually desire from your life. Just because you've reached your 30s and haven't ticked off the big milestones that the media tell you are important doesn't mean that you've failed, and it doesn't mean that you should have done your 20s differently. So together, let's look at the beliefs that I needed to shift to help me feel confident and happy with the life that I've created for myself, and to stop comparing myself to my younger sibling. The first belief was, as the eldest, I should have been first. I should have been first to get married, should have been first to have children, should have been first to buy a house. That lived in my brain for a very, very long time. But here's the thing, in my 20s, I didn't want those things at all. So why suddenly entering my 30s did they suddenly play on my mind so much? Why did I think that by the time I was in my 30s I should have achieved those things when they were never anything that I wanted to strive for during my 20s? The idea that your life should follow a certain path just because you were born first is so outdated. Those beliefs come from the generations where women had no other choice or no other options, or it was the norm to go to school, get married, have babies, be a wife, and that was literally all that was available for women. We have so many more choices now. There is so much that we get to do with our lives, and we are so privileged to be able to do that. Now, I also want to say, I don't think there's anything wrong with that being the path that you follow. If you genuinely desire the marriage, the family, that's all you want to do with your life, that is absolutely fine, because then you're living your life authentically for you. What I think is important is that you don't follow that path if you know there's more that you want to do. Not even more, if you know that there is something different that you want to do with your life. Instead of telling yourself, as the eldest, I should have been first, these are more empowering beliefs that you can adopt. I'm proud of the path that I chose to take, and I'm excited for my future. I trust my own journey and the experiences I've had so far. I am enough because I am me. My worth isn't tied to the speed at which I achieve things. The second belief that I had to rewrite when I was stuck in this comparisonitis with my sibling was, I am so behind in life. Now, I'm sure if you are watching this video, you have definitely felt that on more than one occasion, especially in your 30s. You've probably said to yourself, I'm so behind in my 30s, I'm not where I should be, it's too late for me. And as I mentioned before, especially as women, we've been sold this idea that we need to live our lives in a certain way. Graduate, get married, have babies, live our lives as a wife. So instead of comparing yourself to where you thought you would be, I'd suggest doing these things instead. Remind yourself it's impossible to be late for my destiny. I'm a really strong believer in everything happens for a reason. I believe that if something is destined for me, it will never pass me by. And I believe that my desires will inevitably become my reality. So instead of focusing on where I'm not yet, so the fact that I'm not married, don't have kids, haven't bought a house, instead of focusing on that and spending my days trapped in this thought of being behind, I anchor myself into the knowing that what I want is going to happen. And because it's inevitable, I don't need to stress about the timeline or stress about when it's going to happen. Yes, I want the marriage, I want a wonderful husband, I'd like a family of my own. I want those things. At the same time, I can be very content and happy with the present that I am living. And something that I've mentioned in a previous video, if you knew that your dream relationship was inevitable, if you knew that your person was going to come along, you were going to meet and marry the one, then why would you stress about whether or not it is going to happen or when it's going to happen? For me, I know it's going to happen, therefore I want to embrace this chapter of my life, because I'll never get this chapter back. So instead of focusing on the fact that I don't have the husband, I'm embracing not having the husband, because once I have him, my life will look completely different. I will never get this single child-free version of myself back again. And I want to enjoy it. I want to enjoy every chapter of my life, and that is a choice that I make on a daily basis. The third belief that I had to shift myself is it's too late for me. Your 30s aren't even midlife now. Think about how old people get nowadays. If you're living to your 90s, it's like a third of your life. You have got so much life to live. You are not behind in any way, and it's not too late for you. Now, one of my favorite exercises to do if I ever catch myself in that thought of it's too late for me is to find evidence of older women doing incredible things past the age of their 30s. For example, Nicola Coughlan didn't get the role in Derry Girls till she was 31, and look at what she's gone on to achieve as Penelope in Bridgerton. She's like late 30s now, she might even be early 40s, and look at the success she's achieving in her career later on in life. I mean, it's not even late in life, but you know what I mean. Cameron Diaz got married at 42. Kourtney Kardashian-Barker got married at, 44? Late 40s. Had another baby in her 40s. Victoria Coren Mitchell had her second baby in her 50s. Dame Helen Mirren won an Academy Award at 62. There are so many incredible older women achieving things in their career, getting married later, having babies later, that you don't need to think, I need to do all this now in my early 30s or in my 30s at all. And what really helps me with this, I'm very conscious about who I follow on social media. I don't follow a lot of people on Instagram because I want to keep my feed a really empowering, inspiring place for me. And the majority of people that I follow are all older than their 30s. They're their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. I even follow a lady in her 80s. And looking at what those women are doing later on in their life, the confidence they have, the way that they show up, the way that they dress, the way that they embrace their bodies, that empowers me and inspires me and helps me to anchor into the belief that the older you get, the better life gets. So there is absolutely no rush to do all the things now. This next belief that I really had to shift for myself is a big one, and it's something that I suppose I've probably struggled with my entire life. But over the last few years, as I've been working on not feeling behind in my 30s, this one is a biggie. That belief is they are better than me. So I've often caught myself in my brain thinking my brother's better than me because he has his own house, he's married, he's got kids. And not just my brother, but my friends as well. Like, no matter what age they are, my friends having those things, I've thought, oh, they're so much better than me because they've achieved these things in their life that I haven't. Completely disregarding the success that I've had in my own life in terms of like starting my own business in 2017, been running it since then, my podcast that's in the top 10% of the world globally, so many different things that I've achieved that none of them have achieved because obviously it's not important to them. But I've often caught myself in that they're better than me belief. And the truth is, there is no such thing as someone being better than you just because they've achieved something sooner. We are all on our own unique timelines. Our lives are not supposed to look like carbon copies of each other. We are supposed to follow our own paths, do things our own way, achieve things on our own terms, and live our own unique lives. What I do when these thoughts come up is I grab my journal or my notes app and I make a list of all the things that I have achieved in my life. So I stop feeling like I haven't achieved anything and that people are better than me. And this list can be anything from launch my podcast, grew my business, lived abroad, overcome my anxiety, stopped having panic attacks because of the work that I've done on myself, helped hundreds of clients around the world. Anything that makes me feel good about myself, that feels like an achievement to me, I write it in a list, and then when you have that proof list of how well you're doing in life, you literally cannot tell yourself, I'm not good enough, because you've got the evidence in front of you that you are good enough. And this exercise can really help you to focus on your own wins and stop comparing yourself to anyone else and stop feeling like other people are better than you. The final belief is, I'm supposed to have it all figured out by now. How many times have you said to yourself, I am supposed to have my shit together right now? If you're anything like me, it's been a lot of times, I guarantee. But who says you should have it all figured out right now? Society, the media, your family, your friends, strangers on the internet? Here is the truth. There is no such thing as having it all figured out. There's no such thing as having your shit together. And the moment you achieve one goal, you'll want to create another goal. So you are forever, throughout your life, climbing a mountain. You will never reach the peak of the mountain because there is always going to be something else you want to strive for. If you're a high achiever, if you've got big dreams, just like I have, there will always be something more you want to go after. That is just natural as you are an evolving human being. Instead of putting pressure on yourself to have achieved things by a certain time or to have your shit together, work on building a solid foundation of self-confidence so that you can trust in your own journey, embrace the path that you're on, and really believe that you are exactly where you are supposed to be in life. I'd really encourage you to work on the 3 layers of confidence, which are think confident, act confident, and feel confident. Think confident is all about changing your limiting thoughts or beliefs that are impacting the way that you live your life. Act confident is all about taking bold action regularly, and the idea that confidence comes from taking action. And feel confident is about creating confidence daily through energetic rituals like journaling, meditation, visualization, anything that helps you bring self-confidence into your body on a daily basis without you having to say, when I've done this, I will be confident enough. So are you ready to let go of sibling comparisons and society-inflicted shame? Remember, your timeline is yours. It's not too late, and you are exactly where you need to be. And if you're trapped in this idea that you need to have your shit together in your 30s, go and watch this video right now because that mindset is ruining the way you live your life.